Welcome back to Dinar Flash News, your dedicated source for navigating the complex and rapidly evolving landscape of Iraq's economic future. Today, we are providing a comprehensive breakdown of the compelling reports that have recently captured the attention of the financial world. For a long time, observers have been meticulously tracking the path of the Iraqi dinar, anticipating signals of a structural shift that could herald the nation's return to international economic prominence. The current atmosphere among financial analysts and regional experts is charged with anticipation, as multiple sources indicate the long-discussed monetary reform process may be entering a critical and decisive operational phase. We are witnessing a convergence of data points, originating from the Central Bank of Iraq and extending to the trading desks of global financial institutions, which suggest the country is progressing from theoretical planning to the final stages of its financial restructuring. This discussion moves beyond mere rumor. It is about analyzing the tangible, concrete steps Iraq is taking to reclaim its full economic sovereignty. Over the past several days, the intensity of discussion regarding Iraq's currency strategy has surged dramatically, fueled by reports that the nation has entered what experts term the technical revaluation phase. Understanding this terminology is crucial for anyone following this story, as it marks the distinction between public perception and back-end financial reality. While a change in the public exchange rate has not yet appeared on global boards, insiders suggest the critical internal systems required to support such a shift are now reportedly fully operational. This phase involves the synchronization of digital activation networks, the alignment of national budget parameters, and the completion of rigorous institutional-level audits. Essentially, before a currency can be revalued globally, its structural foundation must be flawless, and reports indicate the Central Bank of Iraq, with international oversight, is finalizing these detailed reconciliations. This specific juncture in the monetary reform process is often referred to in banking circles as the handshake moment. This metaphorical term describes the precise point where Iraq's domestic currency systems achieve perfect alignment with international clearing standards, enabling seamless interoperability. Unlike previous cycles of optimism driven largely by speculation, the current wave of reports is grounded in legal and procedural confirmations that suggest a significantly higher level of readiness. The focus is on synchronizing dollar reserves, oil export income, and foreign debt exposure, ensuring every liability and asset is accounted for. It is a period of intense technical scrutiny where the Central Bank of Iraq and international auditors verify that the digital ledger perfectly matches the physical reality of the nation's wealth. This is the essential, invisible work that must be completed before any visible changes can be announced to the wider world. A massive component of this renewed confidence stems from the recent ratification of Iraq's 70 trillion dinar budget. This document is far more than a simple list of government expenditures. It serves as a legally binding roadmap for the nation's strategic economic independence. For decades, Iraq's budgets were constructed with extreme caution, prioritizing stability and inflation control over growth, and typically utilizing conservative exchange rate assumptions. However, the newly ratified framework for the 2025 and 2026 fiscal years introduces a markedly different philosophy. Parliamentary discussions and finance committee leaks indicate this budget is designed for aggressive expansion, channeling unprecedented funding into energy infrastructure, technological modernization, and social reform. This ambitious spending plan suggests Iraqi policymakers have pivoted from a survival mindset to one focused on sustainable development and regional economic leadership. What makes the 70 trillion dinar budget particularly compelling to economic analysts is the modeling methodology that likely underpins these massive allocations. When a nation commits to such extensive spending, its budget projections are typically based on specific assumptions regarding the local currency's future purchasing power. Economic historians and regional analysts note that the sheer volume of reinvestment into productive sectors like oil diversification, gas capture, and agriculture implies the budget was calculated with an expectation of a stronger national currency. This transition from crisis management to proactive expansion signals that Iraq considers its intrinsic assets and fiscal capacity robust enough to sustain stronger liquidity. The budget is, in essence, a powerful statement of confidence, suggesting the government believes the dinar can and should command a more competitive valuation to support the importation of technology and services required for this massive reconstruction effort. One of the most persistent topics in recent days revolves around the alleged involvement of the U.S. Treasury in finalizing a new rate. It is vital to approach this subject with nuance and strict adherence to factual reporting. To date, there has been no official press release or public statement from the U.S. Department of the Treasury confirming a specific revaluation rate for the Iraqi dinar. However, credible economic researchers believe the ongoing technical coordination meetings between Iraqi and U.S. representatives have produced what is known as an exchange protocol rate. This is not necessarily the final public rate, but an internal test rate used to calibrate digital banking systems and cross-border clearing channels. It serves as a benchmark for testing how the global financial architecture would react to a change in the dinar's value. Understanding the U.S. Treasury's role requires recognizing the distinction between dictating policy and ensuring compliance. While the Treasury does not unilaterally set the value of a sovereign nation's currency, it plays a significant role in influencing how global clearing systems interpret and validate that rate. The United States maintains oversight regarding the flow of dollars and the prevention of money laundering, meaning Iraq's monetary systems must integrate with U.S.-approved platforms. If Iraq has completed its internal fiscal audits, it is highly plausible the Treasury's international settlement systems now hold an operational input value ready for synchronization. This means that while a final rate may not be publicly confirmed, the existence of a specific value within the technical framework indicates the monetary architecture is structurally aligned and awaiting the right conditions for activation. Another topic generating significant discussion is the rumor of an 80-hour exchange window. This phrase has circulated widely, leading to confusion about its meaning. It is important to clarify that this likely does not refer to a limited public time frame for currency exchange. Instead, industry observers suggest this terminology refers to a systemic test cycle conducted between select Tier 1 global banks and digital asset infrastructure providers. These test windows are essentially stress tests designed to evaluate liquidity, synchronization, and settlement timing within international banking frameworks. It is a technical duration used to ensure that payments initiated under new protocols settle correctly across different time zones and banking ledgers. The specific mention of a duration is derived from standard operational test bursts associated with the ISO 20022 cross-border payment system. In high-level international finance, a complete liquidity cycle from transaction initiation to final settlement confirmation can take many hours to propagate through the global network during a testing phase. By running these controlled simulations, central banks and clearinghouses can evaluate how currency data, transaction verification, and conversion mechanisms perform under real-time pressures. Therefore, references to this window are best interpreted as a sign of back-end infrastructural readiness and testing, not a countdown for retail investors. It indicates the financial system's plumbing is being pressure tested to handle the flow of a revalued currency. Despite the excitement surrounding these technical tests, it is crucial to remain grounded in the current reality of the retail banking sector. As of this moment, major U.S. banking institutions like J.P. Morgan Chase, Citibank, and Wells Fargo have not released official statements confirming their participation in a public dinar exchange program. The uptick in interbank chatter and reports of test activities are significant indicators of progress, but they do not equal a public green light. Credible analysts urge caution against interpreting internal bank testing as an immediate public offering. The infrastructure for larger liquidity operations is advancing behind the scenes, but until there is formal authorization and a public announcement, the retail exchange environment remains unchanged. The focus remains on the institutional preparation that must precede any public access. Looking at the broader economic picture, the administration of Prime Minister Mohammed Shia al-Sudani continues to demonstrate a clear strategic intent to transform Iraq into a diversified, competitive economy. Throughout the past year, the government has executed a series of bilateral agreements with key partners including China, Turkey, the UAE, and Saudi Arabia. A critical aspect is the move toward partial settlement models that bypass the US dollar, allowing for transactions in local currencies or hybrid digital payment mechanisms. This diversification is a major step towards strengthening the dinar's functional relevance in regional trade. By reducing sole reliance on the dollar, Iraq is creating natural demand for its own currency, a fundamental requirement for long-term value appreciation. The tangible assets backing the Iraqi dinar continue to reinforce the nation's financial credibility. Recent reports indicate Iraq's oil production capacity has climbed to approximately 4.8 million barrels per day, bolstered by new projects and joint ventures. Perhaps even more significant is the accumulation of gold reserves, which have now surpassed 145 metric tons. This positions Iraq among the top reserve holders in the Middle East and underscores that the currency is supported by real, tangible wealth. When a nation possesses this level of natural resources and gold, it provides the economic underpinning necessary for currency stability. These assets serve as a buffer against volatility and a foundation upon which a revalued currency can stand securely in the global marketplace. Parallel to resource expansion is the government's commitment to a complete digital transformation of the economy. The implementation of smart logistics, fintech integration, and e-governance systems highlights deliberate pivot towards sustainable modernization. This is not merely about convenience, it is about creating a reliable audit trail and reducing the corruption that has historically plagued the economy. By digitizing ports of entry and tax collection, Iraq ensures government revenue actually reaches the treasury. This increased fiscal discipline is a prerequisite for a stronger currency, demonstrating to the IMF and World Bank that Iraq can manage a valuable monetary unit responsibly and transparently. At the center of this modernization stands the Central Bank of Iraq, CBI, the principal authority for monetary policy. The CBI's recent communications have emphasized an accelerated focus on transparency and integration with global financial systems. One of the most ambitious initiatives is the Digital IQD project, which aims to link Iraq's domestic banking with international SWIFT and IBAN standards under the ISO 20022 protocol. This technological leap is designed to create seamless interoperability between Iraq's financial infrastructure and global clearing networks. Such integration enables faster, more secure cross-border transactions, essential for a country seeking to attract foreign investment and facilitate high-volume international trade. Analysts argue these infrastructure upgrades are strong evidence of intent regarding a currency revaluation. A nation does not invest billions into advanced banking technology, anti-fraud software, and blockchain-based monitoring for a weak, hyperinflated currency. These sophisticated financial rails are necessary for a globally traded, strong currency. The alignment with IMF data transparency initiatives shows Iraq's monetary authorities are building toward international credibility. As this modernization deepens, the CBI's technological readiness becomes a reliable signal that the currency's evolution is moving from conceptual preparation to practical implementation within the global financial architecture. To provide a balanced view, it is valuable to consider the perspectives of international economists on the dinar's trajectory. Several experts suggest that while excitement for an overnight windfall is understandable, the economic reality may point toward a gradual appreciation. One senior researcher emphasizes that fiscal discipline will likely drive value first, followed by oil-backed leverage as exports stabilize. This perspective suggests the revaluation may not be a singular event, but a process where the currency strengthens in steps as the economy proves its resilience. This stair-step approach allows the market to adjust without shocking the local economy or causing rapid capital flight. Other experts, such as a former advisor specializing in post-sanction economies, propose that Iraq's next logical step could be the adoption of controlled float mechanism. This would allow the dinar to adjust incrementally within a managed corridor, fluctuating against the US dollar based on market supply and demand. This method offers flexibility and allows the central bank to intervene if volatility becomes excessive. Meanwhile, other strategists frame the narrative within the context of national reconstruction, viewing Iraq as transitioning from a post-conflict recovery model into a credit-backed, investment-grade economy. Despite differing forecasts on the exact mechanism, the consensus among these experts is unified on one principle: Iraq's currency is on a clear trajectory towards strength. For the investor community, discernment is the most valuable tool in navigating this information landscape. With social media amplifying every whisper into a potential headline, it is increasingly vital to distinguish credible data from crowd-driven hype. Reliable information begins with verifiable sources: official statements from the Central Bank of Iraq, documented bulletins from the IMF, and transparent reports from established global financial news outlets. The ongoing revaluation dialogue extends beyond a numeric rate change. It represents the unfolding of Iraq's transformation into a stable economic power. Investors who prioritize education and factual observation will always be better positioned than those who chase rumors based on emotion. One of the most transformative aspects of Iraq's recent history is the digital banking revolution, redefining how the nation handles its internal finances. Since early 2025, the central bank has implemented mandatory electronic salary payments for government employees, effectively eliminating outdated cash-based disbursement models. This shift is massive because cash-based systems were historically vulnerable to ghost employees and corruption. By forcing payments through digital channels, the government can track every dinar, ensuring liquidity remains within the banking system. This accumulation of liquidity within the banks strengthens their balance sheets and provides the capital necessary for lending and economic growth. Furthermore, the expansion of the national smart card network has connected millions of Iraqi citizens to electronic banking for the first time. This financial inclusion is a critical metric for international rating agencies. When a population moves from being unbanked to banked, the velocity of money increases and the central bank gains better control over monetary policy. Integration with global payment providers like MasterCard and Visa further signals that Iraq is open for business. These developments are not cosmetic, they are the fundamental building blocks of a modern economy. They signal to the world that Iraq is operating within a transparent and compliant framework, which is essential for attracting the foreign direct investment needed to rebuild the nation. It is also important to address the community aspect of this investment journey. The dinar community has grown into a global network of individuals united by a shared interest in Iraq's economic potential. From the United States to the Middle East, thousands of people analyze documents and share knowledge daily. This collective effort to understand complex financial geopolitics is a testament to the human desire for progress. However, it is vital that this community remains grounded. The true value of following the story lies not just in the potential financial outcome, but in the understanding of how nations rebuild. It is a lesson in resilience, demonstrating how a country can rise from conflict to become a stabilized economic player through strategic planning and resource management. Ultimately, the key to understanding the current status of the Iraqi dinar lies in following the data, not the drama. The official rate tables published by the central bank remain the single most credible source for any valuation change. Monitoring the Iraqi Gazette is equally important, as this is where laws and budgets become official. Often, the clues to a currency shift are buried in the legal text of a budget amendment or a new banking regulation long before they appear on a Forex screen. By watching these official data points, along with U.S. Treasury statements regarding monetary harmonization, observers can get a factual pulse on where things stand. As we conclude this update, the message is one of perspective and informed patience. Iraq's economic engine is turning, and the signs of progress are undeniable. The implementation of the massive budget, the protocol meetings with international treasury officials, and the robust testing of digital payment windows are not random occurrences, they are indicators of a structured, deliberate plan. These steps point toward an economy preparing to integrate into the global system with renewed strength. As observers, our role is to interpret this evidence responsibly. We must remember that major national transformations do not happen overnight, but the momentum currently visible in Iraq is unlike anything seen in previous years. The convergence of fiscal discipline, resource expansion, and digital modernization forms a credible foundation for the financial evolution we have all been waiting for. Whether the final step happens tomorrow or unfolds over the coming months, The trajectory is clear. Iraq is reclaiming its status, and the financial world is taking notice. Thank you for tuning into Dinar Flash News.